I supposed to do?
Like, hit record.
Oh, I did hit record.
Woo.
Woo. Welcome back to the Real
Deal.
Podcast.
Sleepover edition.
Yeah, it's currently...
I got my cozy little sleeping bag here.
It's currently 1:20 in the morning.
No, it's not. It's a lie.
And like idiots, I invited Cooper over to record whenever I should.
We were going to record yesterday, but we were both tired. And then we were like, well, before we both kind of go on our little break for our like summer break, because our school is year round, we wanted to get an episode out. And we wanted to do keeping it short because
we haven't done one in a minute. Yeah,
and also it's easier than doing a whole podcast thing, which I think the next episode will be like an actual episode talking about vampires.
Yeah.
But we wanted to just kind of do this one for fun, and we're talking about Godzilla.
So we went and watched the new Godzilla, which is what?
Trash.
What was it? It was Godzilla Fallen Kingdom.
Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. A lot of Empire movies, man. We got Ghostbusters, The Frozen Empire, Godzilla, The New Empire.
If you want the short version of tonight's episode, it's going to be don't watch that, go watch Monkey Man, probably. That's probably going to be the shorter version of this.
Better go watch short version. If you want Godzilla, watch -1. If you want monkey movies, watch Planet of the Apes or Monkey Man.
Which is not really a monkey movie, but...
Well, yeah, it's just about
a guy who wears a monkey mask.
Yeah.
Although, I gotta say, I was really worried that this year was going to have some of the worst movies, and it definitely does. But, I mean, there's been some good movies. There's been some good movies that have come out, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, Monkey Man I thought was good, and, we watched Dune, and we also saw... I give, we watched the Ordinary Angels movie.
Oh, that movie was good, yeah.
And there's definitely a lot of good movies.
And just before we jump into this...
There's also haven't been a lot of stinkers.
No, yeah. If you guys want kind of a general update on like what we're watching at any point, you guys can go follow both of our letterboxes.
Yeah.
We have letterbox accounts. I'll try to link them in the description. If I don't do it this time, I'll definitely do it next time, and I'll have it like be a part of the description.
You guys are going to see our review on the thing, and it's pretty funny.
I recently watched Kill Bill 1 and 2, so you guys can go check out the review for that.
Oh, you watched Kill Bill 1 and 2?
Huh?
Nice.
Yeah, we went and watched them all together.
Speaking
I'll
of...
just say what the review is before we move on.
Of
awesome
Godzilla?
Action, not enough feet. That was my...
Kill Bill?
Oh, Kill Bill, yeah.
Speaking of Kill Bill, kind of before we jump into the topic, did you hear about Tarantino?
Oh, he's making another movie?
Well, so he's making another movie, and he's making his final movie because he only has like 10 movies. But here's the thing, though. Tarantino was supposed to be making a movie called The Film Critic.
And he's changing it,
And then he's changing it now.
So he's probably going to end up making that movie anyways, and then having 11 movies. You don't think?
He said, nah, I'm going to just change it. And I mean, I feel that. He's been planning and working on that movie for like 3 years now, and I think we were like literally about to just start rolling. He had like got Brad Pitt on the project, but basically he was like, nah, I'm gonna change it. And I think it came down to like what I've been hearing is like maybe you feel the pressure of saying it's the last movie and people just kind of expect so much, and you as the creator have to be like, oh man, I don't really want because you know what I would want, you know what I really would like from him. Give me Kill Bill 3. I mean, like, it's not even, like, in my top 3 most, favorite Tarantino movies.
He might as well, though.
But, like, you know,
I also don't know where they're
cool
going to
little
take
trilogy.
the story, too.
That's true. I mean, do something with Maya Hawke and, like, her daughter.
I was thinking it'd be kind of cool if the daughter of the lady that she killed from the first movie grew up.
Oh, and the thing where she goes, like, I'll see you in the future, whatever she says.
Yeah, she's like, if you're really mad about it, then I'll be ready.
I think Tarantino has a lot of attachments to that franchise because he made... I know it's more of a two-parter and not really like a sequel, realistically, but like I could see him making a third one because he just cares about that. Or
what if he made the next Godzilla movie?
Then the Godzilla would say the N-word.
Oh, yeah, and he would have his grippers out. He'd have realistically
he would take the Godzilla movie and get a lot of low-angle shots of Godzilla stomping on people so he can get a lot of toe shots.
And he would wiggle his toes on screen.
And then he just says, he just says the
Sorry, guys. Sorry,
what?
I will not be cutting that out.
Not sorry, man. Tarantino's a freak.
Yeah, Tarantino's a little bit of a freak.
He's not Dan Schneider level with feet, but he's...
No, but he's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so we went and watched Godzilla. I gotta say, it was... It really came down to the fact that the VFX were not very good.
They didn't save it. Like, okay, we'll say this.
Yeah.
My review on Letterboxd was literally like, I think I'm done with big CGI trash for now. I added the for now because sometimes I love me some dumb action movies. And because I wasn't, if we're going back a bit, the last movie in the franchise, the so-called Monsterverse, was Godzilla versus Kong. And I didn't mind that. I mean, like, it wasn't a great movie. Oh, man.
I think the last time they had a good one was when Godzilla fought Ghidorah.
King of the Monsters.
That was very cool.
2019.
And I hate to say it, but I think upon rewatching Godzilla fighting Kong, I think I just don't like that movie as much anymore. Although it's definitely better than what we watched.
It's definitely an upgrade over what we just watched, but it's not a good movie. From what people were kind of giving me some flack when that movie came out 3 years ago and was like, "Why don't you like that movie?" And I was like, "I don't like the movie because I think it's trash."
I love like I'm an absolute Godzilla like
holic.
You know, I'm a fan till the end. I like paid people to come watch this movie with us.
You just bought the DVD copy of the American one, which is like you're just trying to...
That one also sucks, but I don't think it's even nearly as bad. This movie was so rough. The VFX weren't
All right,
good.
well, let's talk about by sections. Like, okay, first of all, let's talk about the effects. Go ahead.
Every single Godzilla versus movie that's out there where Godzilla or Kong has to fight somebody, you got to have good VFX. And it's okay to have good VFX and a bad story, or a really good story and okay VFX, but you can't have bad. It just makes for a terrible movie.
You know what it felt like for me? They lost the creativeness to make the shots dynamic with the CGI, where it felt like, and there were a couple of decent shots, but overall you want like 100% goodness with it. Like you were saying, don't have bad CGI and bad fights and bad story. Or like, you know, like in the first movie, they kept it super dark and they made it kind of like horror-esque for Godzilla.
Well, they want to show off their CGI, but they're not. I think this movie got killed by the VFX strike. I think that's what happened.
That's valid, but also like, then just delay maybe, and they did delay.
Yeah, but like, man, I think
they just got too goofy with it.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the monsters. It's like the same thing with like Pacific Rim 2. Everything moves too fast. Everything acts like it has no weight. And that's my favorite part. Is I like when big things fight and they're slow because it's not high-paced action. It's heavy-hitting action, which is different. It's different than like Monkey Man. Monkey Man was a high-octane fight action movie. Godzilla is a slow action, hard-hitting, like sound design, crazy.
Well,
by the way, the sound design, just to stay in the realm of editing, the creatures didn't sound good this time around. I don't know what animals they used to mix, but they like didn't sound good. They almost sounded like patchwork together, which kind of sucks.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was just a letdown.
Speaking of the editing, regardless of VFX, I thought the editing just
was really bad.
in the movie was bad when it came to like chopping between scenes.
They had a hard time choosing cuts.
Yes,
I feel like
I agree.
They do a lot of unnecessary cuts, and they also do a lot of like leaving the camera on people. It's like there are some parts where it needs to be like cut to the music, and it needs to be scary and like intense, and it doesn't
realistically
happen.
I literally, and I wanted to save the point till the end, but it feels like this movie was made by a committee where the producer said, we just need a movie that has stuff that happens in it so we can have fight scenes and sell toys. And it feels that way because the story doesn't feel compelling. Everything moves. The pacing is so fast.
They made a new monkey. The little guy.
Scar King.
No, the other guy, the smaller guy.
I don't know his name.
The little one is there just for marketability. It feels like a minion. He's like silly.
He's the baby Groot of the Kong universe.
Yes. Which is crazy because he's actually bigger than Kong was on Kong Skull Island.
I saw the stats. Yeah.
Which I hope that they're keeping track of those because like I'm scared they're gonna come out and they're gonna be we have to make the monsters bigger. We have to make the monsters bigger, and then Kong's gonna end up being like mile tall, multiple miles tall, creature, monster. And it's like, just let's not just make them all smaller. I like that -1 Godzilla is a town wrecker. He's not like an end of the world threat.
I definitely suggest watching that movie.
Yeah,
because
he's not gonna get you if you're in Oklahoma.
No, and even while it's attacking Tokyo, or the place in Japan that's attacking, I forgot what specific city. It wrecks like a neighbor. It goes neighborhood by neighborhood, and it does it so slow because it's not that big of a creature. I mean, it's big, but it's not like.
I saw like the boat scene where it's trying to catch
chasing
up to
the
him.
little dinghy boat. Yeah,
and it can't even catch it. Like that makes sense. Like it's a big creature, but it's like an animal still.
A big creature has to push in the water, and that's a lot of mass to push against resistance of water. And so while it's almost there, also because it's like,
and he's not hydrodynamic, or whatever.
Not that far away. That's the plot they use. I would say like, see that's something that kind of does everything right that the fans kind of like have complaints about. So my complaints with the movie are also complaints with the fans a little bit, because we are 5 movies in and a show in, and the fans kind of like to flip-flop a bit on the franchise, where they first were like, oh, the story's pretty cool. Like people like were liking Godzilla 1 in 2014 with Bryan Cranston. Everyone was like, give us more Bryan Cranston, understandable, but also give us more Godzilla. And so when they made Kong, they showed a lot more kaiju and balance. And I feel like that's the best balance of a movie. And also the characters felt fleshed out.
They mattered. I liked Millie Bobby Brown's character.
King of the Monsters works. There's just too many characters, and
there's also too many kaiju. There's a lot of kaiju.
There's also a little excessive plot lines in there. And some of the stuff is a little dragged out, but I think it's fine.
The kaijus, now that I'm thinking about it, they really only focus on 4.
It's
Rodan, Ghidorah,
Mothra,
Mothra.
Yeah.
And
then you have
also we get to see Behemoth.
You have a couple of cameos in there.
Skrilla and another Muto.
But those aren't like
cool, because I don't have to see them fight.
Yeah.
They can just show a scene at the beginning of the next movie where it's like, oh, Godzilla fought Behemoth. And
how do you? Okay. That was the part I didn't like. So in this movie, specifically this movie, he's
just dogging on other kaijus.
Well, yeah, that's fine because he's like the best. But it's the part that like, didn't we see in the last movie that he's the king of the monsters? So why would they be resisting the?
Well, Skrilla, the octopus crab thing.
Mm-hmm.
Skrilla, she was having outrages where she was just attacking humans, and that creates unbalance in the kingdom, because humans can't fight back against her.
Mm-hmm.
So Godzilla came and dealt with her, and actually I get that. And then also, I guess technically speaking, he killed Skrilla because she was messing up the balance of things, but Tiamat, which I think is the dragon's name, right? The one underwater dragon was Tiamat.
Yes.
Which is a D&D name, by the way.
For cool.
The Queen of Dragons. But I think what happened is she was hoarding radioactive material and electricity and power.
She was able to really conjure up a lot of solar energy, I believe, and so also radiation.
But he needed that. That's why he went in there and dealt with her, I think.
Yes, and that
wasn't a balance thing. It was just he needed to go in there.
Yeah, it was. But so that was the part for me that was just so upsetting, because they gave, and I get that Godzilla's had more movies now. Kind of, I don't know, because Godzilla's had a movie in the first one, but it wasn't really a Godzilla flick. Godzilla had more stuff to do in King of the Monsters. Cause
I wish that he wasn't just this thing, because it feels like Godzilla's everywhere.
Godzilla,
all at once.
Well, Kong has the Kong storyline, which he had in the first one, or in the first Godzilla Kong movie, and Godzilla didn't do anything in that one. And this one, Godzilla did more, but it was only to show how he changed his color, and now he's purple and got the.
Well, he's doing that so that I think they're doing that so he can fight the next threat and be reasonably powerful.
They just need to give Godzilla some more humanity. I mean, I know we're talking about monsters, and I hear what I'm saying. It sounds stupid.
Well, no, but
it's give them some depth.
Yeah, they've always
give them
had
stuff to
human. Godzilla is a protector as well. He's not just this thing that goes around and kills a bunch of things.
I will say that's also one of the worst parts about it. And it's listen, It's a kaiju movie. I get it. But when you see that they're still arguing they're a good guy. And so the whole plot of this movie, spoiler, is that the people inside Hollow Earth in the last movie, we find out that inside the core is like another environment of like prehistoric kaiju animals and stuff. There's the island people from Kong Skull Island, but they're like ancestors, and they call for help
from Godzilla.
To Godzilla. They want Godzilla to help them because of the prophecy. Here's the thing. They're not in danger initially because the apes aren't making a move on them because they don't know where they are. They just read the prophecy and was like, it's time to resurrect because I guess we're getting visions. And they installed them to bring Godzilla back down. And Kong. Yeah. And then they have like a tribe of like maybe like 80,000 people. But then when the Scar King and his monkeys attack and he goes up to the surface, they kill about 1 million to 2 million people.
Like a crazy amount. Like actually,
all of Brazil is gone.
Dude, I can't wrap my head around like the idea that they were more important than those other people. And also like I know that they didn't know about Kong.
I also don't.
But like, why were you calling for Godzilla?
Also, I miss the time where people actually cared about the human beings a little bit. Like, both in the central characters, but also the population. Like, because I know it's devastation, and I'm not going to feel about random guy gets knocked out of a building. But the cool thing that Godzilla -1 does that's so amazing is that it doesn't tell a Godzilla... like, it's not about the monster at first. It's not, let's watch them fight. It's a story about these wonderful characters, and that's something that these movies have been missing for a while, is really making the character stories dynamic and can rival the kaiju stuff. And then when it happens...
It elevates the story.
And then
like Shin Godzilla. I like Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, and then when the Godzilla attacks, you feel for every single freaking person in the thing. It's devastating. And so when the giant ice monster comes and freezes the whole beach, it's like, brother, I don't care.
Yeah. Sorry, you guys are killing millions of people. It's like I don't care when it's a couple hundred people. My brain can't wrap around how many people there are dying. Like my brain isn't like, oh my god, like I feel like lower numbers are even scarier. Like I get because like I can't feel mass hysteria in a movie.
Well, yeah, because like the scene.
Like if I see like Godzilla like squash like a family, like a small family, like he kills like a couple hundred people.
In the first Godzilla movie, you have the little strike force of like 12 guys. You can feel that when the Muto attacks, it's scary. But then in King of the Monsters, when the one girl in the ice, she gets killed by Ghidorah or Godzilla, like she gets like crushed. You feel that because we've been with this character, and it's a single person.
Yeah.
And so you like it's better than the whole city is destroyed and Godzilla saved us.
Yeah, it just I don't. I get that like Godzilla is supposed to be this protector, and there's this awesome lore around
Godzilla walking back to the Coliseum to take a nap probably killed like 1,000 people.
Dude, Godzilla walking back to lay down in the Coliseum made me feel like they were trying to make him a cat. Like, brother, he's a big he's a big blue killing machine.
Okay, can we also talk about, and we should have warned you of this, but can we talk about
maybe
Mothra?
Oh yeah, they didn't bring her back really. Like she comes back in every iteration she's ever been in.
She comes back to she'll probably have more to do in the next one, but she comes back to tell them, hey, stop fighting. And then whatever, but it's like it was just so lame.
But it was lame because they did the Avatar shtick with the little girl.
Yes, they tried to make the girl so the human subplot that keeps.
If you're not going to care about the humans, just don't do the story at all.
Yes, because because if you're gonna do humans and you're gonna have the dumb action monster movies that we all know it's dumb fun action, make the humans dumb and fun and don't make them super serious. But they're taking it too seriously on the human part.
Yeah, for sure.
And they'd also have to explain all this crazy stuff as to why they have like purple energy and a robot arm on Kong, and that's just they're trying to
justify the
marketing and justify how stupid it is when you just go like just implore the stupidness. But yeah, the subplot of the human thing, like we said, was...
Oh my god, sorry. King Kong also mogs at the camera. He like looks at the camera a couple times and he like gives him a sly look.
It's pretty ridiculous.
It's like actually like it makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, but they took the little girl and they wanted her to be like this messiah to the people of her because her like ancestry tribe because in the other story her people got killed off screen. And And that could have been cool to flesh out, but they didn't do it enough, and they also rushed through it to the sense of like, I don't care because you guys didn't give it the best it could have been, and I also don't care about her dynamic with the doctor lady being her new mom.
Dude, I can't even lie. I just don't care about these characters anymore. I don't even care about Kong anymore.
I don't even care about because their story's done. Like Kong,
he has his family now.
Kong is king, and it feels like, honestly, at this point, it feels like you're gonna just be rehashing. A new monster shows up, they fight, new augmentation happens, and honestly, let's get to the big problem here. The moment when they do fight, it feels like just there's a bar of that it can be a mix, and you can have there's animated movies and all that, but at some point there's also a bar of when it just becomes ultimate CGI trash. Like it's just it's just
if you're going off of, if we had to judge big monster fights, right? I mean, Pacific Rim is the baseline.
Yes.
Pacific Rim in 2015, Godzilla from the MonsterVerse, the very first Godzilla movie where he fights the two Mutos. Those are two really, really, really good movies to show like how much weight they should have, how they should interact with their surroundings. It just feels like they've lost that sense of scale, and I think that's also another thing is like the scale of devastation that they're doing. I think it makes it turn into like a Michael Bay flick. It feels like Transformers. It feels like super high octane action.
Even in Transformers, really, I'll at least give them the.
Well, they're smaller than the Godzilla.
Well, I'll give them the credit where like when they fight, it's a unique. It's
interesting at least.
Well, yeah, but I think there's just in this movie, it just felt like it was these gigantic things punching each other just to punch each other. And it just felt like because there's such these big creatures and there's no weight to it, like you were saying, it just feels like it's just me watching effects and getting nauseous from it. I'll compare it to a thing I watched earlier this year. I was watching this show called What If Season 2, and it's the Marvel animated show about like what if these certain times existed. In the final end, spoilers, I guess, Doctor Strange, there's an evil version of Doctor Strange, and there's a good version of Peggy Carter that comes Captain America. And she gets god powers because of like the other villains or something. And so basically it's like two people that are basically invulnerable fighting with magic and stuff. And you at first think it's pretty cool, but then it's just like there's so much power where they fight, it's not interesting anymore because there's no stakes to the fight.
Yeah, and I'm not worried about King Kong or Godzilla dying. Like I'm not worried about that because I know that's not going to happen. Because
they would just come back.
Yeah, they wouldn't be willing to.
And it just wouldn't, like, it feels like The Rock and Jason Statham where they just can't lose Godzilla did not lose a fight ever after King of the Monsters, but Kong has been getting sidelined. He's been getting benched.
It's crazy because like they're making the movie. They're making a Kong movie, like that last movie. This newest movie is a Kong movie. It's not a Godzilla movie.
Kong's always had a central narrative focus with humans,
and
Godzilla hasn't, and that's fine. But it's also like in the last movie, you gave Kong this really cool axe to make him kind of at least a rival or like a decent fight against Godzilla, and in this one, he just gets like smacked. Even when he has the augment of the robot.
We establish that Godzilla has like an ego, and like he is also that like he is something that thinks. He's a thinking
Godzilla killed people just to walk towards Kong and say, "Get off my territory."
Yeah,
that's really funny.
Dude, I think it's really crazy because like we've set up this character because Godzilla is like an egocentric like character.
Yes,
and he like when he's fighting Kong, and you remember how he smiled and then like shot at him. He was messing with him like. It's just interesting seeing Godzilla go from like a character they're trying to like develop a little bit to have a personality and to be like something more, and then not being like, okay, he's like like I'm sorry, but you can't keep stealing the T-Rex shot from Jurassic Park. We can't keep doing that every single movie.
They were stealing so much in this movie.
Dude.
We were saying that they
stole from Avatar: The Last Airbender,
How to Train Your Dragon 2.
How to Train Your Dragon 2. They stole from, personally, Pacific Rim. It felt like they stole from, because you know how the fist goes whenever it hits, like it like does the extra thing.
It extends.
The big Russian robot did that. I don't know. I'm not saying that they're directly stealing or anything, but it just feels like they are.
They just the one where it's the one guy, evil guy, has the controlling stick that controls the ice dragon.
By the way, it was so cringe. The Bluetooth ice dragon.
Yes, the Bluetooth ice dragon little tail thing.
Just have it be gruesome and have him have like a chain around it. Like that's fine.
Or even just have them work
also,
to be both sentient.
There was so much like skeletons that like were active as chains. That doesn't work. That's not how that works. I'm sorry. I hate to be that guy, but there's nothing connecting bone to bone, and they don't show any sinews. So like they kept doing it, and it kept making me mad because usually what they do is they add lines to go through it, like with Kong stuff, because it looks cool and it's easy to do, or not easy to do, but it's an effect that's easier to do to explain that.
Yeah.
They just gave up on this one. It literally like I think that creature, the ice dragon, I think its name is like Shilla or something. I'm sorry guys, I don't know off the top of my brain. It was chained up with bones that shouldn't have been connected. I don't know. There's small little things like that like add up, and then there's also like the not shading in Gods or Kong for a couple of scenes, and like,
there's stuff that just makes it just felt like they weren't trying, and realistically they probably weren't. And they think, the corporations think, let's just be able to, we can just print money and people will go see it. And it's honestly it's going to be the next Fast and Furious franchise, which, listen, hey, I love the Fast and Furious franchise. I love the Monsterverse franchise. But when you don't give the heart, like I just praised Godzilla -1 a couple months ago because it was so good and it showed that it had heart. This movie doesn't have heart. Mm-hmm. It thinks that it can get away with the whims of being a dumb action fight, and some people can let that happen. But as people who talk about movies and love movies and really try to embrace all the aspects of it, I can't let this slide. And my opinion will stand that I don't like this movie, and I think they need to start changing their trajectory, because I know that their plans. I know that you want to make more monster movies. I'm not saying in the franchise or anything. But you gotta start getting creative, because if you keep repeating that there's a monster and a threat and they have to keep fighting, they're gonna punch each other, it's gonna just turn into like 20 movies of extreme garbage. And at some point, they're gonna realize that they spent too much money, lose their company so much money, and just like.
I'm just saying, because then that ends
the franchise.
Monster movies. Because they try to milk it for as much as it's worth, and then when it won't milk anymore, they're like, oh, it must be broken.
That's kind of what's ruining superhero fatigue right now. Like, I mean, we have good superhero stuff like Invincible and The Boys, and I know it's because it's a different take in Joker, but why superhero fatigue is happening now, same with Monsterverse thing, is that they realize how good it is, how mainstream it is. So they took a step back and started to make something just safe and mediocre. And now because we keep realizing and seeing the bad flicks, we hold a very higher expectation, and we also be like, well, the rest of them are going to suck like that, and it ruins it for every other film that comes out.
Yeah, it's we've just set a bad precedent, and it sucks because like I'm a VFX slop enjoyer.
Yes,
I love all the Godzilla movies, like every single one of them I've loved up until this point. This movie I just don't like, and it like sucks because it's like one of my favorite franchise. Like I don't have Pacific Rim anymore. That was the only other franchise that was like even similar to Godzilla, you know.
So sad they only made one movie.
The cool thing is I don't think that people are realizing this, but the Titans live for a really long time.
Oh yeah, well they explained that so Godzilla was old.
At any point they can be like 20 years in the future, new characters, and then have the new threat come down. It doesn't have to be a monster of the week, because it right now it feels, because that girl hasn't aged any, so it makes me feel like everything is happening within like a couple of months.
I could see that actually being. I think that's something that's really smart to do, because I was very invested, and I really liked seeing in the first movie in the universe we see Godzilla taking place in modern time, and we go back in time. And where are we? We're in the late 60s, where we have they're in like Vietnam time, and there's Kong. What if we even went all the way more back? And I get that like that'd be a little confusing, where it's like, well, I don't want to see village people fighting Godzilla, but it's like it's something just different.
Yeah, and I'm always cool.
Or go to the future, like in like 2000.
There just should never ever be, with a Godzilla movie, almost never should the cast stay the same unless you're nodding to the cast, because like, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like a threat every 10 years is way more easy to understand and get.
Realistically, they did have a time jump where it's been like 4 years maybe.
But it's still not enough. It needs to be like a 20-year time. I need new characters.
We need new characters.
That girl should have been played by somebody different. It should have been like a young lady. It's just like a teenager, you know? Like, I just don't like when you have this huge scale and scope. Because, like, Godzilla lives for, like, a super long time. He's not, like, gonna die anytime soon, you know what I mean? Especially with the way that he's been written.
Yeah.
But if you just take 30 years and go, all right, Kong has ruled under the ground and on the Hollow Earth, and Godzilla has done this, and they've teamed up for a couple of threats, or like a threat or two. Boom, flashing newspaper articles. Boom, now we're into a new setting. There's a new Godzilla. You can explain why he got so strong. Some space kaiju came down and, whatever. You can explain everything away. And also, you can have a completely new cast who can be A-list actors if you want them to. But you can have a whole new cast, and then bada bing, bada boom. And it's not the cast's issue, by the way. But I feel like when you have a new cast, it's way easier to redo tropes. If it's not like the people should learn from the last time that they messed with Godzilla. And the people in the future should be cautious of Godzilla, but they can be overzealous, which can let them.
Since King of the Monsters, they've begun to have recurring characters, which personally, fellas, I don't give a dang about any of those characters.
No.
But I thought it was so cool from Godzilla to the Skull Island to King of the Monsters. We saw there was the only recurring character was Dr. Kurosawa, and then he sacrificed himself. You know why? Because he's been in these movies for too long, and they realize that that's an issue, and he has his arc is complete. Let's get him rid of him.
I'm just saying. I think I agree with DJ when he said that they couldn't afford Millie Bobby Brown, so they went with the other route. More.
They couldn't afford her, and her managers were like, "Listen, dog, you were in something really cool, but you should step back." And I think what it was originally was she did the first movie, and she was probably happy to go back in the second one, but her character didn't have anything to do, and I think she was contractually obligated to do another one. And that's why they probably tried to set up the other person so they could try to do another film with the girl. Listen, at this point, their arcs are done. I think that's a good idea. I think especially if you do Space Godzilla, go forward 100 years, and that makes sense. Where it's technology is more
just make it
advanced because we already have the scientific portal thing, and go back to make it be don't make Godzilla Kong a franchise. Split back up to do solo flicks and something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think the idea that they're in the Hollow Earth and then Godzilla isn't means that we can totally separate that. You can have completely different events happen in Hollow Earth and it not affect the Godzilla's timeline at all.
I know they do this because they need to sell money in toys, and they're going to keep doing this. But I'm going to make a declarational statement. As of now, unless I hear it's the best reviews ever, I will not be supporting and giving my money to it.
Me either.
And I feel bad because animators have to just make a wage and they have to do it. But if there's no creative prowess to it, I will not give you my money. And so I hope you guys don't give them their money to show them.
Yeah, so basically, guys,
don't see this movie.
To wrap this up, don't go watch it. Go watch Godzilla -1.
Yes.
That's just the end.
There's better movies out there that you can watch.
Go watch Godzilla vs. Ghidorah. Go watch the original Godzilla, the American version.
54. Oh.
Don't
the Japanese 54.
One. The Japanese 54 one's good. Go experiment.
Go see the old King Kong movie.
Go watch Pacific Rim.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, out of everything else, go watch Pacific Rim. I think that's a good thing. Watch Pacific Rim 1. Wish they made a second one.
You wish that they made a second one if you go watch this.
Man, I wish they made. They could have called it Uprising, but I bet that would never happen.
Nah, I don't think Uprising would be a good title. That would suggest that the kaijus have to come back through
a brain and a host, and also the recurring characters would die. And
I don't know. This movie sucked though, and I was Christian.
I'm also Christian.
No, you're Cooper.
You're agnostic.
Say you're Cooper.
All right, fine. Both movies suck. 2 out of 10.
Wouldn't do again.
Yes, would not do again. No more kaijus. I've been Cooper.
I've been Christian.
And this was The Real
Deal.
podcast.
See you later.
Good night.